This video is designed to give you a summary of how to read the three documents that have been attached to this conference. These are the documents that were produced from the Course Outcomes Guide discussion for Writing 291, which will now be called Research Writing. The first document for the Writing 291 COG is the syllabus, and it contains the new course description and the new course title. Research Writing is the new course title. And this course description, as you can see on your screen, is continued practice in critical reading, thinking, and writing skills, focuses on analyzing, evaluating, and synthesizing diverse sources and viewpoints. Again, the emphasis on synthesis here continues in 291 that we touched upon in 101. Assignments include pre-writing exercises, an annotated bibliography, a synthesis research essay, and a reflective paper. The course outcomes have been revised into 4 outcomes. Let's first look at what the course goals and objectives are now for 291. We have 7 of them involving planning and writing research papers, grounding research in established principles, and navigating databases, using UMC databases, applying a criteria of intellectual honesty and grammar, punctuation, and spelling. We've now designed Writing 291 to have 4 outcomes. The 4 outcomes actually follow a strategy, and I'll explain the strategy in a second, but they are the 4 that you see on your screen: locating, organizing, and evaluating sources, applying the writing process to develop a good topic, integrate appropriate sources to construct good paragraphs, and demonstrating accurate grammar, mechanics, and documentation style in writing. These outcomes reflect a model in some writing literature. Stern and Solomon wrote a paper in 2006, Effective Faculty Feedback, The Road Less Traveled. They conducted a study on faculty feedback to writing. I won't get into the details of the study, but I want to scroll down to the method they used in analyzing teachers' responses to students' writing. They divided responses into 4 categories: the global level, the middle level, and the micro level, and finally the other comments. Global level refers to the overall quality of the paper, the writing style, the paper structure, the organization, etc., the creativity of the voice. I would add, whether the topic itself is too broad or maybe perhaps too narrow. These would be global issues. Middle level issues refer to the quality of specific thoughts and claims, some of the supporting evidence for the claims, the request for content clarification, paragraph and sentence structure or style. I personally would think sentence structure would go to the next level, the micro level. I think of the paragraph level as the middle level. But let's go down to the last, the third category. The micro level had to do with word choice, phrasing, had to do with missing words and pieces, grammar and punctuation, spelling, etc. They also talked about references and citations being in the micro level issues. So from the Stern and Solomon article, the second outcome is your global outcome. Apply the writing process to develop a research topic appropriate for an academic audience. The third outcome is your middle level outcome. Your paragraphs, the way that you defend your arguments. And the fourth outcome is your micro level outcome. Demonstrate accurate grammar, mechanics, and documentation style. The first outcome is actually specifically a research outcome. We thought it would be important in 291 to have a specific outcome for research and evaluating diverse sources. As you move further into the document, you'll see that we've drawn upon some material in the course modules to maintain in the course. You can take a look at that. The suggested grading information and criteria would be 20% for conferences and participation, and you've got these various assignments, as well as a reflective paper at the end. Right now, we use an authentic assessment for Writing 291. The reflective paper would be the authentic assessment, and it would be worth 10% of the grade. Specifically for the 3 writing assignments, let's take a look at what they are. First, students will write a pre-writing exercise, and this will be a choice of an abstract of a scholarly article, an outline of an article, or a research table based on findings gleaned from scholarly articles. Some of these are actually borrowed from our COM 600 course, a course we teach for the graduate school here at University of Maryland University College. So this exercise asks students to look at one or a few articles and glean the information from them. The next assignment is a descriptive annotated bibliography. Now this is not a critical annotated bibliography, it's a descriptive one. They'll find 8 to 12 sources, and as it mentions in the project description, you'll describe the information of these sources in annotations of approximately 100 to 150 words. And of course they would document the sources in appropriate style. Then the synthesis research essay would be the big essay of the class. It would involve 8 to 12 sources, 8 to 10 pages long. It involves several divergent viewpoints and synthesizing those viewpoints into a unified research essay. The reflective paper is the final project, or what's called an authentic assessment, and it's a paper in which the student examines his or her work process in researching and writing the synthesis research essay. This leads us to our next document, the Course Outcomes Guide, or the COG, and it has all the course outcomes that we just mentioned from the previous document. In the third column are the assessments that assess how well the student is accomplishing this outcome. And so in that column you'll see all the things the students will do to assess outcome 1, all the things the student will do to assess outcome 2, etc., etc. The next column is the core concepts, skills, and issues that a student would need to master or address in order to accomplish these outcomes. By the way, at the end of this document are the program outcomes for the writing courses at UMUC in general, not just the academic writing courses, but the professional writing courses and courses in communication studies. Those P1 through 6 are the program outcome guides. These are outcomes to which Writing 291 and other courses are mapped to. Finally, we have the 8-week course schedule. As you see, there's reading in the first week and conference discussions, and you'd submit your abstract or your other pre-writing exercise in the first week. In the second week, you'd be introduced to what an annotated bibliography is, to the concept of scholarly and popular sources, and other conference discussion exercises. In the third week, you would learn about thesis construction, and you'd submit your annotated bibliography, as well as learning some other skills. In the fourth week, you would learn a little bit more about inductive and deductive reasoning and some other forms of thinking, and about integrating research. In the fifth week, you would submit the first draft of your synthesis research essay. Notice this is the first draft. The writing process will be embedded into this class, and instructors in the sixth week will be, perhaps in the fifth week and in the sixth week, will be giving feedback to that first draft. In the seventh week, they would submit the final draft of the synthesis research essay. I've had classes for which I've had to ask students to submit a third draft of an essay, depending on the struggles the student is having. In the eighth week, the student submits the authentic assessment or the final project, which is the reflection paper. Hopefully this has been helpful in giving you a good understanding of the 3 documents that have been attached. We look forward to a very good discussion here in this conference section.